This is 13 Eyewitness News.
On the big screen, zombies are creatures who will just not die. While they may be fictional or real-life zombies coming after consumers all over the nation. We're talking about zombie debts, old balances that are just not coming back to life. Action 13 consumer reporter Jeff Ealing joining us now with the frightening details, should I say, Jeff?
It can be very scary. Over the past few weeks, we've been getting a lot of calls and emails from people who say a debt collector is coming after them now for money that was owed several years ago. James and Princella Green would love to get rid of the papers surrounding their now discharged bankruptcy from 1995, but there's one debt that just keeps coming back.
And in 2001, we applied for a loan. It was on our credit report.
The Greens had to write letters to get the debt removed from their credit report, but it's come back twice. Each time the debt was resold.
This zombie debt, it comes back to haunt us.
It's called a zombie debt because it just will not die, and until it goes away, the reappearing debt can cause big problems.
We have to pay a high interest rate to purchase property, and that's been a situation that has cost us a lot of money.
To get the debt to finally go away, the Greens hired an attorney. Michael Weston says the Greens case may be extreme, but other consumers who have debts that are several years old are now seeing those old outstanding balances come back as old debts are sold to new companies.
The debt purchaser then goes out and sues all the consumers, in the thousands, and that's what we're seeing a lot now.
If your debt is 4 years old, you cannot be taken to court, but if you are sued, do not ignore it.
If you don't respond, they're going to end up with a judgment against you.
And remember, a debt more than 7 years old cannot be reported to the credit bureaus. Dan Parsons with the Better Business Bureau says companies routinely buy old debt and try to get consumers to pay up.
There's an expression in the credit world we've actually heard lawyers and creditors use: throwing it at the wall to see what was.
Remember, debt collectors do have to follow federal rules. They can't threaten to sue you if your debt is older than 4 years. They can't harass you. They can't call your home before 8 o'clock in the morning or after 9 o'clock at night. Also, don't believe those who say after 7 years you do not have to pay an old debt. It's still there. However, it cannot appear on your credit report. And you can get a free copy of your credit report every year. We have links for doing that and for the rules on zombie debts on my consumer blog. Just go to abc13.com and click on the consumer tab to find the blog. Now, tomorrow on Eyewitness...
This is about a discharged mortgage FHA HUD debt that refused to die. This is 2010, almost 2011, and we're still fighting a discharged debt. My husband and I were injured at work. I was a letter carrier. Dog jumped the fence. We filed bankruptcy. A Chapter 13. We paid $1,800 a month faithfully for 5 years. But the court has ordered us, because of misconduct with the attorneys, to repay a discharged debt. We sued against them, but they got the judgment against us to repay the discharged debt and signed their illegal ambiguous settlement agreement. This is a letter from First Bank, Midland Mortgage, where they admit in the letter that this is a discharged debt, that the debt was discharged. They say that. But in spite of saying it in the letter, they still violated the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act. This mortgage company has committed fraud along with their attorneys. This is just beyond me that they could do that. And then, here is a letter that they wrote. This debt was sold from Sinlar Federal Savings and Loan. They sold it to Aurora Loan Services, and Aurora Loan Service sold it to Mid-First Bank. Mid-First Bank has a servicer by the name of Midland Mortgage. So they've attempted to collect this illegal debt for almost 15 years now. And then the attorney signs and files an invalid Rule 11. This is what they call a one-page Rule 11. This is invalid. But look what it says, that the Greens and Midland Mortgage and Barry Burke has agreed to settle. But then, if you look further, it says that the paperwork is still being worked on. Well, how can you settle something and the paperwork be worked on? But better than that, how can they enforce an unsigned settlement agreement with the invalid, unauthorized Rule 11 agreement that does not comply with the Texas Rule of Civil Procedure 11? This is pitiful. And then, the settlement agreement is 15 pages long. But I want you to look close. Attorney Stephen Lay, with Lay and Payne, on September the 10th, 2009, sends a threat letter by mail. And look what it says. As you are aware, you've been made to sign the settlement agreement and accept the $40,000. The court has ordered you, whether you like it or not. You're going to sign the settlement agreement. And then it says down a little bit further that if you refuse to comply with the court order, and trust me, the court order is beyond me. We filed a lawsuit against them, but they had a judgment entered against us to accept their $40,000, sign the ambiguous, unconscionable, illegal settlement agreement, and the settlement agreement has the discharge debt in it. This settlement agreement, where there was no meeting of the mind, Mr. Lay filed it with the Galveston 405th District Court. He filed it as proof that we agreed to the settlement terms. We never saw it. We never saw it. My husband was at dialysis on May the 11th, 2009, and I was in the hospital because of their unconscionable behavior. So there's no way that a court in America can force a litigant, coerce a litigant to sign an unconscionable, ambiguous settlement agreement. That is beyond me, that the courts can even make us repay a discharged debt. It was discharged. And then I was injured at work, as you can see right here, by a vicious dog attack. And that is the reason that we filed Chapter 13. We paid $1,800 a month for 5 years, never missed one payment. I was in the line of duty, but this is what I get? This is America? This is justice? Or is this just us?